Verbal or life.
And what a way to start the year. This is crazy. Just second day of 2025. And we have so many crimes happening. And on television, all they're talking about that it's the CIA or ex-CIA agents that are doing the crimes. This is insane. Like Trump is about to be nominated. Oh, I'm sorry, it's about to be appointed into office. What's today, January 2nd? I could only imagine how January 6th is going to look like, 2025. But in this video, let's take a look at the news report talking about the chaos that's happening out there and how we got a former CIA agent running a car through the public. It's wild. But welcome to Verbal on Life. My name is Noel, battling MS. Hopefully you enjoy this content. And if you do, be sure to give it a like before you go anywhere. But you know what? Enough of me talking. Let's take a look at the video because we are living in some crazy time.
At least 15 people dead, dozens more injured after a man in a pickup truck plowed into a New Year's crowd on New Orleans Bourbon Street. The FBI identifying the suspect as 42-year-old Shamsuddin Jabbar, an Army veteran born in Texas. Cops say he opened fire on police after the truck stopped and was killed in a shootout. Police finding guns, multiple pipe bombs, and an ISIS flag in that truck. The FBI now investigating the mass killing as an act of terrorism as they probe potential ties to terror organizations.
And look at that, trying to say that it's ISIS flag. What are they trying to say? This man is a maniac. He went in to commit the deed, commit a crime, and then go at it with the cops one-on-one? Well, man, thank God he's off the planet. You know, you don't want to wish death on anybody, but a maniac like that just killing people? Come on now.
Organizations. They also believe Jabbar may not have acted alone. Meanwhile, the FBI and Harris County Police raiding a location in Houston, Texas last night as they look for more information on the killer and potential accomplices. I want to bring in Fox News contributor and former CIA station chief serving in Moscow, Iraq, and Pakistan, Daniel Hoffman. Dan, I'm so grateful that you're with us this morning. Give us your initial assessment of what happened in New Orleans.
Well, look, there's still a lot of information that we're waiting for, and I can tell you that based on my experience serving decades at the CIA, our intelligence community, as well as state and local federal law enforcement, they're mounting a full court press right now, not just to do the forensics on this horrific terrorist attack, but to determine the extent to which the perpetrator of the attack might have been involved with some sort of a network that assisted him with planning and with financing, whether there was an overseas connection as well. It looks as though he had a connection with ISIS, and they've enjoyed a lot of open field running in Afghanistan, especially since the Biden administration's chaotic withdrawal back in 2021, where we now lack the capability to find, fix, and finish those targets. ISIS not only has mounted external operations attacks in Russia, and of course there was the attack that was thwarted in Austria against Taylor Swift concert, but online they have a presence and they radicalize potential followers all over the world. That's been a staple of Al-Qaeda and ISIS since their inception.
And I don't know why it doesn't feel like when Biden was in office, nobody really thought of all these terrorist attacks happening. It was more of a DI and what else? The border is open and people are coming in. But now that Trump is coming in, I mean, CIA agents are agents that work for the government. And they're going rogue, you know? Is it because the DOGE program is going to fire a bunch of government employees? It could be, you know? Comment down below. Let me know what you think.
And we had that attack on that German Christmas market about 2 weeks ago. Similar situation, mass casualty event, someone picking a very busy, crowded event. And this is what happened, obviously, in New Orleans, a busy crowd. I mean, you know, New Orleans after midnight on Bourbon Street is going to be packed. And obviously that suspect knew this. But, you know, you mentioned something about the financial issue here. And that's, you know, this goes back to motive of the suspect. And while they are investigating the motive, he did have a lot of financial problems. Is that someone that do you think, even though he was born and bred Texan, an Army veteran, he was in the Army for 10 years, he had a lot of financial problems, reportedly, and that's all coming to light this morning. Are those the types of people that you think are vulnerable to influence from terrorist groups like ISIS?
They certainly can be. There's Look, the potential here for mental health issues, we just don't know a whole lot. We've got to do a deep dive into this individual and understand what else was going on in his life. And there's a lot of work being done by the FBI right now and also by journalists uncovering what sort of life he was leading. But I want to get back to the tactics involved here, because you're right to call out the truck used here to launch this horrific attack. Yes, they've been used in the past in Berlin, in Nice, and in Wisconsin. Trucks there's no training involved here. And Al-Qaeda, through Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula online magazine called Inspire back a decade ago, encouraged their followers to use exactly that tactic as mass casualty events like this. And
I think this is the second event that we saw in 2024, where I think it happened in, I think it was Germany or UK, where the actually guy got in a truck and did the same exact thing, drive it into a crowd. So what's going to happen now? Now people got to be careful whenever they go to a crowd. So now people got to be careful when they go to a crowd. They got to be careful when they get on the train. Like any mass gathering are now being looked at by the regular people, by the citizens.
That's something that we have to be absolutely focused on in the future.
Well, there was a similar event here in New York City on the west side along the Hudson River. And again, it was someone that was inspired by terrorist ideology. Let's talk about the incident in Vegas, because a Tesla Cybertruck exploded also yesterday outside Trump International Hotel there, 20 seconds after it pulled up to the entrance. Now, police say the person in the vehicle was killed, at least 7 bystanders hurt. The car reportedly was full of gasoline, camp fuel containers, and large fireworks. Now, authorities say they do know who rented the vehicle, which was acquired in Colorado, but they're not publicly identified.
Wait, so it sounds like the suspect was inside of the vehicle and lit the match that blew him up alongside everything else? Well, it's a bulletproof vehicle, so good thing it was able to contain as much as possible the explosion. Not through the windows because it's glass, but the rest of the body is like bulletproof.
That person yet. Both the New Orleans attacker and the suspect in the Vegas explosion used the car rental app Turo to rent the vehicles they used. Now, right now, there's no clear ties established between the two individuals. Turo says it does not believe either suspect had a...
And why would the guy use a Tesla? Like, what signal is he trying to send? I mean, a bulletproof Tesla that could actually withstand a hit like this, because any other car would have broken down. Let's be honest here. I don't think any other car door will remain, or what else we got here? The wheels and all of that.
Criminal background that would have been identified as a threat. Dan, can you give us some color and commentary on this?
Yeah, there's just so much more information that we need. We don't even have the person's name, the attacker in Las Vegas. But one thing I would note is generally before an attack takes place, you'll see surveillance. The attacker will case the site and look at it and determine when the best time might be to launch the attack. And also in Vegas, there's the potential for a network there for the individual to acquire these explosives. There's just a lot of forensics that we need to be doing. But I can tell you this is the worst place to be. We want to detect threats way out left of boom before any harm is caused so that we can preempt them and prevent any damage and prevent any death and destruction that we've seen to innocent civilians. And in this case, we're right now in incident response. And that's not a place you want to be, especially. Yeah,
that same camera they use right there should show the guy jumping into the car if that's when he got in. Or track it from where it came from and look at all those cameras. We should be seeing a video footage of the guy who did all of this and then make the connection. Who sent him into Trump Tower to do this? What kind of a signal is he trying to send?
Especially in New Orleans, getting back to New Orleans, where you've got, the Sugar Bowl coming up and Mardi Gras. This is, and Las Vegas, obviously, a very busy city. And so we've got to be at the alert. And I always encourage folks, look, if you see something, say something. If your gut's telling you that something doesn't quite look right, tell your state and local law enforcement, and they can marry that up with whatever else they're seeing and maybe prevent a similar attack in the future.
Okay, I want you to listen to Senator Kennedy from Louisiana. He made these comments on Fox News to Aisha Hasni, and it's getting a lot of attention. Listen to this.
Are you getting the sense that there's any threat of any other potential attacks tonight on any other major cities?
I can't answer that. I can, but I won't.
Yeah.
Dan, he also made similar comments at a press conference.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Dan?
Yes, I think, look, the FBI has stopped a lot of ISIS attacks in the United States. They've arrested individuals connected with ISIS. And so this is the case where we need to have some more public hearings. Transparency really matters for the public so that we can know what we're up against. I don't think Senator Kennedy wanted to speculate at this point, and maybe that's why he held back on any further details. But this is a time where the American public needs to know the threats that we face so that we can be better equipped to defend ourselves.
Dan Hoffman, thank you so much for being here this morning. Really appreciate your time.
This is crazy. Only the second day of the year. And look how they're trying to say what's up to the new president. We have so many problems. The FBI, the CIA, you know, in the country in general, all the illegals and all the governors pushing back, saying that they're not going to help the government send all the illegals back, that they're going to do their best to like Trump-proof their state. I think that's what they're calling it, Trump-proof. So make sure that they get the law on their side. But with all the chaos that's happening, how can anybody support this? You know, hopefully they'll be primaried and sent out of office when they start seeing that every other state is working with the feds and is minimizing the violence and all the craziness happening in the state. But you know what? That's just my opinion. Hey, listen, if you enjoyed this video so far, make sure to give it a thumbs up. You just saw the news report there from Fox that this particular guy was an ex-CIA agent, 40 years old. Like, at no point he decided to start a family or build a home or do something for himself. Like, that's some deep depression. To then one day, January 2nd, commit this heinous crime of, wow, 12 people are dead. Plus he is dead. I don't know if he's one of the 12. But man, at least he is gone and we don't have to worry so much about him. Who wants to live like that? But we're living in some crazy time. What else is going on? So that's what's going on in New Orleans and in Las Vegas with the explosion and the people getting murdered by a car. That's a crazy weapon. Man, hopefully there's no more there are no copycats. But let's take a look at this other news report about the Cybertruck and how it took a hit.
This is absolutely insane. On screen now, the aftermath of a massive explosion outside Trump Tower. Now, some might wonder, was this a coincidence? Was this just an accident? Or was this a targeted attack? I'll speculate more later in the video, but first, watch this.
What I also would like you to pay attention to on that video, as you see that, it looks like the exterior of that truck is completely intact as it sits there. The fact that this was a Cybertruck really...
Oh, and by the way, you know the Cybertruck got a bunch of cameras. Cameras inside, cameras outside. Everything is being recorded about the Cybertruck. But I don't think they're going to release the footage because Elon doesn't want people thinking that they're being filmed and then the footage is going to be used against them in the future. So I don't foresee that footage being sent out to the public. Hopefully it gets sent out to the police officers who are doing the investigation behind the scenes and not let people know that everything that's happening inside of the truck is recorded. You know, because those recordings will let us know a lot. Like where he got all the bombs, explosive, and who is he and who is he working with. So that's my thoughts on the cameras. The cameras, yeah, don't put it out to the public because then people are going to know that everything is being recorded. And then if they know that, they're not going to buy a Tesla Cybertruck or a Tesla car. But it should be used internally because we got to get to the bottom of this. What the hell is going on?
Limited the damage that occurred inside of the valet because it it had most of the blast go up through the truck and out. In fact, if you look on that video, you'll see that the front glass doors at the Trump hotel were not even broken by that blast, which they were parked directly in front of. You can see that in the video there.
Absolutely wild. Sawyer Merritt posting this. A bomb went off in the Cybertruck's bed and the tires didn't pop or deflate, and the exterior of the truck is intact. The bed door is still attached and the steel exterior helped contain the blast.
That's a bulletproof truck. Oh no, I'm gonna call it a tank, right? Like a military tank. You could take this anywhere and it will survive bullets and bombs from the enemy. So this is a special vehicle. Why in the hell would Elon Musk build such a vehicle for the general public? Like, you got yourself a steel armored truck or tank. Let's call it a tank, the cyber tank.
One of the toughest and most badass trucks ever made. Well, Sawyer, fact check, false. It is the toughest and the most badass truck ever made. This is incredible. Now, based on reporting, authorities believe that the items in the bed of this Cybertruck were connected to a detonation system, which was controlled by the driver who happened to rent the Cybertruck on Turo. So you would ask yourself the question, is it possible this was an accident? And if your IQ's sub 69, you'd probably think, yeah, maybe they just were carrying some fireworks to celebrate a few days after New Year's and it was an accident. A Cybertruck. I mean, you don't rent a Cybertruck for nothing, nor does it just so happen to be parked outside Trump Tower and then explode. Actually, the Cybertruck didn't explode. The shit in the Cybertruck exploded. We're giving this a 99.99999% chance that this was either terrorism or terror retardation, aka the same fucking thing.
I think it's important for Elon Musk to let people know that the battery inside the truck doesn't explode, that it was in the truck. So therefore, it will never be the truck moving forward. The fact that somebody put a bunch of bombs inside, whoo.
Attempting to be sent to Orange Man bad and Elon bad. The good news is the only casualty here was a dumb fuck who self-deleted upon detonating this apparent bomb. And I think libs of TikTok absolutely nailed this. This has to be one of the greatest Cybertruck ads. So let's watch this clip. I mean, it really is. Rest in peace, Ford Tough in their advertising. I mean, seriously, dude, you can't compete with this now. I mean, trying to make something positive out of an absolutely heinous act, but thank fuck no one was killed except for the dumb fuck who deleted themselves, attempting to harm others. A tragedy averted here. I mean, Cybertruck really preventing massive injuries, if not fatalities, because it's so fucking tough. No amount of paid advertising can send a message to the world like this.
There's going to be a drone video that plays to my left again. You'll see as the fire initially, they covered it with the tarp to try to get it to go out. Once the fire went out through the suppression efforts of the fire department, you'll see some of the evidence in the back of the vehicle. So those are gasoline canisters. They are camp fuel canisters and large firework mortars.
Look at the entrance. Look at the doors in the entrance. None of those doors shattered. You know, again, in a normal car like a Ford or anything else, let me not name Ford, but any other car, all that glass would have been broken. Let's be honest here. This is the best commercial.
But I also would like you to pay attention to
And this part of the clip we've already seen. The guy's saying, I'd like you to pay attention to the fact that the Cybertruck remains intact. Now, at this point in time, you really have to be just brain dead to think this was an accident. The back of the truck, the bed, filled with firework-style mortars and fuel canisters. And of course, the fake news is having a field day. By the way, I seriously, genuinely hope that everyone involved at the Associated Press disappears, never to be seen from again. And I don't mean harmed, I just mean they stop doing what they're doing. They stop publishing this horse shit. Look at this. The Associated Press, the fake news. This is the headline. One person dies when Tesla truck catches fire and explodes outside Trump's Las Vegas hotel.
The news works so hard to discredit whoever it is they're up against. Right now, they're trying to discredit Elon Musk and his products. Look at this. When a truck catches fire, I mean, anybody that reads this headline will think that electric vehicles are bad. You know how many people love to say that electric vehicles are bad when they never had one, when they never heard of one exploding? All they do is cite these type of media agencies and say, look, a Cybertruck caught fire when it did not. Let's wake up, people.
Are you fucking serious? A terror retard tries to set off a bomb in a Cybertruck outside Trump Tower, deletes himself in the process, and the headline implies that the Cybertruck spontaneously caught fire and somebody died as a result. What the fuck? I mean, seriously, this is the most heinous headline I've ever seen, period. How can anyone publish this? What is wrong with these people? Musk reposting this from Doge Designer. You don't hate the legacy media enough. Now check this out. Some headlines from, of course, the fake news from MSN. Tesla Cybertruck catches fire outside Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. Yeah, right. Next one. Tesla Cybertruck reportedly catches fire outside Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. From the New York Crimes. By the way, I call them New York Crimes because everything they publish is criminally false. One dead after a Cybertruck explodes outside the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. And from The Guardian, one dead after Tesla Cybertruck explodes outside Trump Hotel in Las Vegas.
You know, regular media or legacy media, they're really dying. Less and less people are believing them. Less and less of the young people that do go online and actually see the footage and actually know the story. They don't just get it from one source. I think back in the days, which was the newspaper and regular network television. But now with everybody else reporting, I can't believe they're still running headlines like this. Just eye-catching headlines to talk bad about whatever topic they want to discuss, and they want to paint as negative. Because at the end of the day, it's all about the narrative. They built a narrative against you, you are done. They're looking to destroy you. Or you know what? Used to be done. Thank God we have regular media that speaking out, putting the truth out there. You know, so all these headlines are false. They're not real. And more people are realizing it and just running away from the legacy media or from all these regular people who are trying to build a narrative. I wonder who's in charge of the narrative. Like, do they make a call to each other and say, this is what we're doing today? Because this is some crazy times.
Las Vegas. Wow. Pierre Ferragu posts this. What the fuck? Can the Associated Press be sued for this headline? Damage to the Tesla brand is obvious. What a bunch of scoundrels. Obviously, they've already been community noted, but this is just shocking. By the way, let's actually read the community note.
Yeah.
Okay? The headline is misleading. It was not a mechanical problem. The explosives contained in the truck were described as fireworks, gas tanks, and camping fuel, which authorities believe were connected to a detonation system.
You know, community notes are the best thing that Elon Musk created. Besides buying Twitter, creating community notes and clearing things up, those of you interested in the truth can now go ahead online and get it, given that Twitter's free. Man, otherwise we'll be thinking, and there you go, all the Teslas are blowing up. Those cars suck. When it's not true. This is crazy. I wish I had a Cybertruck. Man, I'll be driving around happy as hell. I wonder what's the next car they're going to put up to that. Like, the Cybercab with no steering wheels or brakes or acceleration. That was going to be on another level. But again, the narrative that they're using is not working.
Holmar's posting this. Cybertruck and Tesla engineering saved lives today. Thank you, Tesla team. Let's watch this short clip.
But I also would like you to pay attention to on that video, as you see that, it looks like the exterior of that truck is completely intact as it sits there. The fact that this was a Cybertruck really limited the damage that occurred inside of the valet because it had most of the blast go up through the truck and out. In fact, if you look on that video, you'll see that the front glass doors at the Trump hotel were not even broken by that blast, which they were parked directly in front.
I mean, truly astonishing. Let's actually watch some footage of the explosion. Okay, so on screen now, I'm just going to scrub across this. Obviously, some nearby security footage. Absolutely insane. But let's watch what happened here in slow motion. You can see people, by the way, right inside the Trump Hotel, directly across from the Cybertruck, just before it explodes. You also see a person here in the street standing right behind it. And this is the moment of the explosion. Absolutely mental. And you can see already the explosion being directed up through the bed and through the cabin. The exterior of the vehicle completely intact. We see now the blast shooting up out of the bed. The explosion contained enough that the nearby person, the bystander, was able to run away. And as we can see, the aftermath continuing here, an absolute mess. Any other vehicle, and we could have multiple fatalities, multiple casualties as a result. We've already seen the footage, the aftermath of this. The vehicle remained intact, containing and directing the blast upward, away from the people. Truly incredible. As we can see here, a quote from the police, the authorities, quote, "The explosion went up and out," as we saw in that video. First reply on this says, this is great advertising. By the way, it sure fuck it is. OP replying, the Cybertruck is a freaking tank. Another one, that Cybertruck saved Trump's insurance company a crap ton of money and saved a lot of lives as well.
All right, I'm going to take a break right here. And let me see if I can finish this when I walk away.
Terror retard failed. Pretty low IQ attempt at an attack. Somebody also highlighting this guy has to appreciate it. I'm sure he fucking does, bro. Justin absolutely nailing this. It was a message that they don't like Elon and the Trump partnership. Another caption, this is probably the best advertisement the Cybertruck could ever have. Now, of course, I know what the haters are going to be saying already, right? Ready? This is what the haters say from their mum's basement, smashing away on the keyboard. Oh, but it wasn't even a very good explosive. That was not a very good bomb. Any vehicle would look like that after. It was only fireworks and fuel. Next level cope. Elon Musk posting, the evil knuckleheads picked the wrong vehicle for a terrorist attack. The Cybertruck actually contained the explosion and directed the blast upward. Not even the glass doors of the lobby were broken. And it's true. Absolutely incredible stuff. PSR MKBHD has left the chat. By the way, more of the fake news headlines. So disgusting. From the New York Crimes. Same article we saw earlier, posted on X. So they're going to get community noted into oblivion. And another one. The suspect, the New Orleans attack. So just by the way, in case you guys don't know, it's shit hitting the fan today. Multiple terrorist attacks. Okay. So let's just read this in context. Quote, one person is dead and at least 7 people are injured after a Cybertruck exploded outside of a Trump hotel in Las Vegas, the police said. Same day, same outlet, same circumstances. A dickhead trying to harm others, a terrorist attack. This time, however, it wasn't in a Tesla vehicle. So let's read this headline. The suspect in the New Orleans attack early on New Year's Day was 42-year-old Army veteran from Texas who had an Islamic State flag on his truck, FBI said. Here are the latest updates. His truck, not his F-150 or his whatever, his truck. You really don't hate the fake news enough. We ain't done. From the the BBC. Revelers had been celebrating the new year when a driver plowed his pickup truck into a large crowd versus one killed as Cybertruck explodes at Trump Las Vegas hotel. We ain't done. From MSNBS. Breaking. Tesla Cybertruck burst into flames outside Trump hotel in Las Vegas, killing one. Versus breaking. FBI asked public for help in New Orleans attack. Does not believe the suspect in truck was solely responsible. Even Fox News joining the fake reporting action. Quote, this is evil. New Orleans police superintendent, who cares, promises to track down anyone who may have helped deceased suspect carry out the deadly attack in the city's famed French Quarter. No mention of the vehicle versus Las Vegas police investigating Tesla Cybertruck fire in front of Trump Tower. Musk also pointing this out and maybe speculating a little, appears likely to be an act of terror retardation. Both this Cybertruck and the F-150 suicide bomb in New Orleans were rented from Turo. Perhaps they are linked in some way. By the way, we're sort of going backwards in time now. This is from the earliest. We started at the end, working our way back to the beginning. Prior to that, Musk had posted, we have now confirmed that the explosives were caused by very large fireworks and or a bomb carried in the bed of the rented Cybertruck and is unrelated to the vehicle itself. All vehicle telemetry was positive at the time of the explosion. And prior to that, just after this news broke, Musk posting, the whole Tesla senior team is investigating this matter right now. We'll post more information as soon as we learn anything. We've never seen anything like this. By the way, you know what the fake news was initially reporting, right? Maybe the battery blew up. Maybe it was a fire. Absolutely insane. Now, the good news is no casualties, and I don't count the dumb fuck who self-deleted. I mean, that was obviously going to happen anyway. No innocent casualties, right? World's better off with one less moron out there willing to carry out an act like this. Now, check this out. One of the fucking headlights is still on, meaning clearly the battery is still operating and intact. That's crazy, dude. This is genuinely, actually, the best ad you will ever see for the toughness of the Cybertruck. And I told you guys, I mean, I hate to say I told you so, but remember when I said Elon bad plus Orange Man bad equals Giga bad? I do not believe it's coincidence. This happened to be a Tesla Cybertruck, and it just so happened to be parked outside of Trump Tower in Las Vegas. These two men want to make America great again, and there are a lot of bad actors who want to get in their way. Thank fuck we avoided an absolute disaster today. If Cybertruck weren't engineered to be the toughest fucking truck on the planet, many innocent people could have died today from this insane, failed act of terror retardation. What the fuck? By the way, I'm pretty sure this video will not be monetized on YouTube. They got some interesting policies around this kind of shit. I don't care. I don't need the money. I'm just letting you guys know. There may be some weird suppression stuff going on. So if you want people to see this, I don't ask this. In fact, I never say this, right? But if you want people to see this, friends, family, etc., feel free to share the video directly, a link, because there's a good probability that if it's not monetized, it'll probably get suppressed. YouTube sometimes like to fuck around in people's ability to see content. This may be one of those occasions. P.S. Anyone just order a Cybertruck? If you haven't, Tesla.com/Cybertruck. Turns out the most badass truck on the planet will not just keep you and your family safe, but potentially others around you. Want more content? Early access? Bunch.
All right. Let me end it there. Shout out to this channel, Talking the Truth. So, another campaign to take down Tesla cars, try to put the narrative out there that Tesla cars don't really work or are any good, but instead it's backfiring, right? It's showing that it shouldn't be called a Cybertruck. It should be called a cyber tank because it could withstand a bomb, firecrackers and all of that. It is built that strong. When the Tesla Model X first came out, a lot of people were talking bad about it. I went ahead and bought it. Best experience on earth having the Tesla Model X. So the government, Biden administration, I don't know why the Democrats are going up against Elon Musk in the Tesla brand, in the Tesla car. Like, he must have done something to get somebody upset, getting the regulators upset. I wonder what was it that Elon did to get somebody in the government upset at him. And now they're trying everything, lawfare, talking bad, and the media, the legacy media, the narrative is that stay away from Elon. Like, check out this report. Why was it that the government hates Musk?
Here's a question that I want to explore today. Why does it seem like every government agency in the United States is taking shots at Tesla every chance they get? It's like everyone from the White House on down to the Traffic Safety Board is either actively or passively throwing shade at Tesla or Elon Musk to some degree as of late. And as a non-American myself, it's pretty baffling to watch.
But even before this, even before Elon Musk jumping on Donald Trump's train, working with the Republican Party, Elon Musk was a Democrat. He said it himself, supporting whatever Democratic ambitions there were out there, whatever it is that they were doing. And then all of a sudden, when Biden became president, they were making him take shots, DEI hire, and all these policies going up against all of his companies. But why? Let's see if this guy tells us more.
Now, this isn't going to be a video where we're just angry and yelling or saying mean things about people. We're just trying to get to the bottom of a strange phenomenon. So let's get going.
Let's go. Tesla, please.
So what really makes this anti-Tesla situation so fascinating is that it seems to fly in the face of everything that we assume America to be. I know that's painting you all with a broad brush, but we've heard endlessly about the American dream out here in the world, and it's hard to imagine a better example of that dream than an awkward immigrant with a weird name like Elon Musk building a $1 trillion business empire on the foundation of a strong work ethic and big, bold ideas. You would think the dude would be a modern-day version of a national hero like Henry Ford or John Rockefeller. But instead, there's this weird attitude among those in positions of power that they either pretend like Elon doesn't exist or take the stance that he's actually a bad guy. So what's the deal with that? It seems to go pretty deep. So we'll start with the least important people and work our way up from there. Okay, the National Transportation Safety Board is one that we've been hearing a lot about recently when it comes to Tesla-related grievances and investigations.
Here we go. Elon Musk is trying to get self-driving cars. The scariest thing on the road, a car that drives itself. It doesn't need people. So it sounds scary because you want to pin any bad doing on a person driving the car. But if it's self-driving, who do we blame for any accidents? And the idea sounds great, right? It's great for the government, great for the people to have a car out there that doesn't produce as many accidents as regular people. But yeah, it is insane that the government is going to Elon Musk and this idea of having self-driving cars.
Just recently, on or around October 25th, the chair of the board wrote a letter to Elon Musk, and excerpts of the letter have been made public through stories in the media. From what we can gather, Chairwoman Jennifer Homendy is pretty upset with Elon because Tesla has not formally responded to NTSB recommendations about their autopilot software. What they are getting at here is a 2017 recommendation where the NTSB told automakers that they should limit the use of their Level 2 automated driving systems. This all stemmed from a 2016 crash involving a Tesla Model S, and
they always do that when it comes to the narrative. They show just one accident and blow it up like Tesla is accidents everywhere. One accident. You know how many regular car accidents there are in the United States? But here you go. They just show one. Instead of saying Teslas all over the place are crashing. No. They take one incident and blow it up. And man, I can't wait for people to start fighting back against stuff like this. I'll be one of those fighting against it. I think this is dumb.
Tractor trailer. This was the first known fatal collision with Tesla Autopilot engaged. Basically, what happened was a semi-truck crossed a 4-lane divided highway, and the Tesla crashed into the side of the trailer at 75 miles per hour. In this location, there is an intersection with a break in the center median that allows vehicles to make unprotected left turns across traffic. What was found in the investigation was that the driver of the Tesla wasn't paying attention and didn't realize that a semi-truck had pulled out in front of him. The driver of the truck didn't realize or care that there was a vehicle speeding towards him as he pulled out to make the left turn. And Autopilot didn't realize that there was a truck in the road and didn't take any measures to avoid it. So there was a lot going on here that contributed to the crash. But the one factor that rose to the top in media reports and the investigation was the autopilot. Tesla openly admitted at the time that there were two main reasons that autopilot didn't do anything to prevent the crash. Because autopilot was and still is only designed for highway use, the collision detection system wasn't tuned to an obstacle being perpendicular across the road. It was focused mainly on not rear-ending other cars that are moving in the same direction. The other factor that confused the collision detection system was the height of the trailer. The front end and hood of the Model S were able to pass under the transport trailer. The collision happened at the windshield. So because the car could see under and through the object, it didn't register as something to avoid. Elon Musk said afterwards that the car might have falsely registered the trailer as an overhead sign. Of course, the root cause of the crash was the fact that the person behind the wheel didn't notice that a tractor trailer had pulled out in front of their car and didn't take any action to avoid it. Even the family of the driver made an effort at the time to shift the narrative away from the self-driving car. In a statement, the family said, "We heard numerous times that the car killed our son. This is simply not the case."
See, it's all about the narrative that they keep pushing to get it into people's mind, especially older people who don't know because they don't have that type of car. And they just flow along with the narrative,
Even still, the NTSB published a list of recommendations to all automakers who offer level 2 self-driving abilities that suggested manufacturers should not let a product be used in a manner that is, quote, inconsistent with its design. Other recommendations centered around data collection and designs for determining whether drivers are actually paying attention behind the wheel.
Look how happy that guy is, just sitting there letting the car drive itself. And by the way, I got a Tesla Model Y with full self-driving, and it's amazing. At first, it's hard to let go of the steering wheel, but once you get used to it, it's hard to put my hands back on the steering wheel.
So that's the 5-year-old backstory on why the chair of the NTSB is writing an angry letter to Elon Musk in October 2021. There are a couple of weird things going on here. The NTSB can issue recommendations, but they cannot make new regulations. Nothing they say is binding. It's just what they consider to be good advice. Though they do have very strong expectations that companies will take that advice and act on.
You know, with Doge, the company that Elon Musk is setting up, I'm pretty sure he's going to get rid of this one. Here are these people making recommendations, making government money to just recommend dumb ideas with no research
on it. That's what Homendy is referencing in her letter. She says that the 5 other automakers in the report officially responded to the recommendations within the 90-day window that the safety board prescribes, and the NTSB officially flagged those responses as acceptable. Tesla did not file a response. Again, this all happened 5 years ago, and in the time since then, Tesla has actually done a lot to improve the driver monitoring system during autopilot. They've increased the frequency of alerts when drivers take their hands off the wheel. They've reduced the scenarios where autopilot will actually allow you to engage the system, and Tesla are even in the process of incorporating a camera-based driver monitoring system into their full self-driving feature. But that doesn't really matter to the NTSB. All they seem to care about is whether or not the company formally responds to the recommendations that are made.
And it's like, you got all these people that are trying to make a living, the NSTB, whatever they're called, and all they do is sit back making recommendations to these big giant companies that are doing amazing magician tricks. Because let's call it what it is. Engineers are magicians. So all these tricks that these people are pulling off, you know, and all these people, they're jobbed. All these people, it's just should shoot down companies and not really for safety. You know, how are they doing anything for safe-wise? Or how are they working with a company? I think for too long, we've been allowing things like this to happen. Again, hopefully with the Department of Government Efficiency, companies like this get taken down because they don't serve any greater good. You know, if you let them, they'll come up with a good argument as to why we got to continue to fund them. But the truth of the matter is, we shouldn't continue to fund them. This is crazy.
In the letter, Homendy writes to Elon, quote, "You have stated that safety is always the primary design requirement for a Tesla. Now that statement is undercut by the announcement that Tesla drivers can request access to full self-driving beta technology, operational on both highways and city streets, without first addressing the very design shortcomings that allowed the fatal crashes to occur." In March 2021, Elon Musk did report on Twitter that the FSD beta had expanded to about 2,000 users, but at the same time, Tesla had actually revoked beta access where drivers did not pay sufficient attention to the road. In May 2021, it was widely reported that Tesla had started using in-cabin cameras to make sure that drivers are paying attention while using autopilot. As far as I can tell, that makes Tesla the only brand to use both camera monitoring and steering wheel input at the same time.
At the same time, you know, whenever I'm doing full self-driving and I take a look at my phone and my eyes off the road, the car actually signals to me that you need to pay attention. You know, like the screen starts flashing, like pay attention. There's no looking at your phone while the car is driving. You got to look forward the whole time. I'm thinking, man, this car is a genius. How does it know what I'm doing?
For example, GM Super Cruise has camera monitoring but does not require hands on the wheel. And in October 2021, just days before the NTSB letter was published, we got reports that Tesla has been giving notice to full self-driving users who don't pay attention to the road and warning them that access to the software will be revoked. Here's an excerpt from the email that Tesla is sending to drivers who misuse the software. "This is your only warning to please keep your hands on the wheel and remain attentive at all times when using autopilot. The car is not autonomous, and if you aren't paying attention, a crash could happen, and you or others could get hurt or worse. So failure to abide by this warning will result in removal of the FSD beta from your vehicle."
And you know, the FSD beta, I think, is like a $4,000 addition to the car that it's always there. And if you don't want to pay the $4,000, I'm paying like $100 a month. I could afford $100 a month, so I could do that. Otherwise, if you could pay the $4,000 or $6,000, I'm not 100% sure how much it is, but it's in the $4,000 to $6,000. And look at the warning that they're giving. Again, they're working with safety. Safety is number one when it comes to Tesla.
So for the NTSB to outright claim that Tesla has done nothing to improve their driver monitoring when they have demonstrably done quite a lot, it's pretty weird. And it has been said that this is a case of Homendy being personally biased against Tesla due to her history as a union lobbyist and Elon Musk's history of discouraging workers' unions. But
I think we got to back union. And now more and more, like Elon doesn't support unions or backs unions. Like union is a government thing that doesn't work in every single industry. Pay attention. We need to go above and beyond the government and not just be dependent on them. Like all these people in unions, they got to pay union fees, even if they don't want to. So more money for the government.
She's fairly new to the job, being appointed in the spring of 2021, and it does seem odd that she's bringing a 5-year-old conflict back to the surface. But this kind of attitude from the NTSB has been ongoing for a long time. In February 2020, the previous chair, Robert Sumwalt, said basically the exact same thing about Tesla, not responding to the 2017 recommendations, and his background is entirely in the aviation industry with seemingly no connection to unions or anything automotive related. So I don't mean to be patronizing, but it really seems like the board is just upset that Tesla won't respond to their emails and they take it personally. Or they don't actually care about what happens in real life, because literally all the NTSB would have to do is read the news to know that Tesla is already doing the things that were recommended. And
they're reading the news. They know better. I just wonder, what's the internal conversation like? Who is making these phone calls? Who's saying, let's go up against Elon and we got to take down Elon, right? Who is the bigger picture? Because at the end of the day, man, this is a great, safe company.
Should, in theory, be pretty happy or at least supportive of that. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration is a level up from the NTSB. These people actually have some teeth when it comes to making rules and regulations, and they have bones to pick with Tesla as well. The ongoing situation between the NHTSA and Tesla again revolves around autopilot. No surprise there. In this case, the administration is investigating 12 collisions involving Teslas on autopilot that have smashed into emergency vehicles. We don't have specific details readily available on all of the incidents, but we have learned that they all occurred at night and involved emergency crews using flashing lights, flares, an illuminated aero board, or cones to warn of hazards.
It's like the car got to be perfect. And yes, it should be perfect, but look at them nitpicking the little small stuff just to say that the whole Tesla system is bad. Check out the narrative.
So on the one hand, it looks like they're making a fair point. If autopilot can't recognize an emergency situation with fire trucks and police cars on the road, then that's not ideal, obviously. It's probably something that the software should be able to detect and make some kind of response, probably to shut itself off and make the driver take over control, or at the very least, slow down the car. On the other hand, any responsible car driver who sees flashing lights and emergency vehicles on the road should just instinctively switch off autopilot or any other kind of cruise control feature that they might be using. Seems like a common sense solution. Either way, in this case, Tesla has actually submitted their response to the administration's request. They don't really have much of a choice because this time there are legal consequences to just ghosting. The NHTSA compelled Tesla to turn over autopilot data collected from over 750,000 vehicles, the majority of all cars Tesla has ever made. And so far, Tesla has submitted a partial response to that request, which came with an October 22nd deadline. We don't know the content of Tesla's response because they have made a broad request for, quote, confidential business treatment, which is fair to say. Autopilot is a selling feature for Tesla, and they don't want 7 or 8 years worth of data getting out to their competition. Not that the competition is being left out of the whole investigation, though. Every other automaker who uses a level 2 driver assist feature also has to submit their data to the NHTSA. They just have a later deadline than Tesla to do it. So the eventual ruling is going to be much larger and wider ranging than just Tesla and autopilot. This could be a kind of referendum on advanced driver assist features as a whole. Meanwhile, on September 22nd, Tesla released an over-the-air software update to their Model 3 and Model Y vehicles.
And I love those over-the-air updates. I get them all the time. Just while the car is charging at home in my garage, overnight, the next day, got us all the updates are fixed, and then we got a new feature. I love it.
That seems to directly address the issue with emergency vehicles and flashing lights. While the update itself didn't include specific notes related to the added feature, the owner's manual has been updated to now read, quote, if a Model 3 or Model Y detects lights from an emergency vehicle when using auto steer at night on a high-speed road, the driving speed is automatically reduced and the touchscreen displays a message informing you of the slowdown. You will also hear a chime and see a reminder to keep your hands on the steering wheel. When the light detections pass by or cease to appear, autopilot resumes your cruising speed. Alternatively, you may tap the accelerator to resume your cruising speed.
This is like that car kit that has a thinking brain and talks to you, like, and knows what's going on. Like, look, there's a problem. We're going to slow down. And it's like we are living in the future. A car could do all of this and know exactly what's going on outside. Like, what the hell are we doing? Are we inside of a robot or something? How does the car know so much, man? Telling you, once people experience these features, there's no going back. Who in the hell is going to go back to a regular car after this?
The NHTSA saw that Tesla had made the update and responded to that by asking the automaker to explain why they had not issued a recall order to address the software update.
NHTSA, let me take notice. This is one of the companies that I think Elon Musk is going to take down with the Department of Government Efficiency, because it is bugging out Tesla and it got to get taken down. So they picked the wrong guy to fight with.
Which is strange. I guess the point that the administration is trying to make is that if Tesla is sending out a fix to a defective program, then they should make everyone aware that this is what they are doing. But it seems like this is more of a case of Tesla adding a new feature that didn't exist before, as opposed to fixing a broken feature. It's hard to see what a recall order would accomplish or what difference it would make, because the new feature was just automatically added to every car without the owner needing to do anything themselves. Anyways, that's the regulatory side of things, which overall seems to be done fairly for the most part. It's the NHTSA's job to scrutinize, and that's what they've been doing. But if this isn't already enough to process, Missy Cummings enters the equation and things get really messy. Cummings has just been appointed as a senior advisor for safety at the NHTSA. She's a retired fighter pilot, an engineering professor at Duke University, and someone who has a lot of experience with autonomous systems, particularly autonomous driving. She is also not a fan of Tesla Autopilot or Elon Musk. Like, really not.
How can an individual get so much hate? You know how many people just hate Elon for succeeding? It's like once you become successful, the number of haters that you get is on another level, you know? Because you don't hear Elon looking for favors or asking for favors or doing anything outside or building up his company or becoming better and better. Like, this is a role model for the world to see and take a look at how to work great, how to do great work, and all the amazing things you can accomplish. But instead, the number of haters that this man has, makes anybody quit or move on in life, but not Elon. It's like he sees the writing in the wall and just sees all these agencies as another challenge that he got to overcome, right? As if building a car that could do all of these things, drive itself, fix itself, no more oil change, it just does its job. That's a challenge. But now we got the government also on top of that. Man, where the hating is coming from is crazy. Let's see what this guy says.
Not a fan. And that's led to some conflicts over the past week. Elon Musk tweeted on October 19th, objectively, her track record is extremely biased against Tesla. And there are a few reasons for him to say that.
Yeah.
For one, Cummings is a major stakeholder and previous board member of a company called Veoneer. They make advanced driver assistance systems for vehicles that are based on LiDAR sensors. It's kind of like a competitor to Tesla Autopilot, but also not really the same thing. Veoneer develop their technology and sell it to car companies. So if Subaru, for example, wants their cars to have advanced driver assist, but doesn't want to develop the system internally, they can just go to Veoneer and buy it. Tesla, on the other hand, develops Autopilot for internal use only.
So this is another great reason why she's hating. Money and competition. She wants to make money and help out her team, shutting down the other competitor in the market that got self-driving cars. Big reason. And it's amazing how just a few bucks is making the government flip the script or change the narrative against somebody.
They don't sell it to other companies. So yes, similar product, but very different business model. Either way, Missy resigned her position on the board of that company after taking the job at the NHTSA. She might still hold her 25,000 shares. There's no way to know. It's probably not that big of a deal. Lots of people in positions of power have large investments. That's just what rich folks do. If someone who owned a large stake in Tesla had been appointed to the same position, would you still consider that a bad thing? Then there are the public comments on Tesla Autopilot, mostly made on Twitter. Cummings has said in the past, quote, "I have driven several Teslas. Autopilot easily causes mode confusion, is unreliable and unsafe. NHTSA should require Tesla to turn it off."
What a hater. What a hater. Number one hater. Out of all the people that talk about the Tesla full self-driving, leave it up to this government official to talk negatively against it or negatively against its competitor because they want Tesla to fail. What a liar. FSD is the best. Period. Amazing that this human being is able to do this. Just take the narrative and make it negative. Where's her husband? Can somebody fix this and talk to this young lady?
Which is harsh, but it's fine for people to have opinions. Probably the most brutal thing she's written publicly was in 2018 when she tweeted, quote, "The only killer robot out there is Elon Musk's Tesla," which again is pretty harsh and arguably not true, but there's nothing illegal or immoral about a bit of hyperbole. Not that any of those tweets are available anymore, because Cummings deleted her Twitter account after being broadly harassed by a bunch of rabid Tesla supporters, which was a shitty thing to have happen that doesn't accomplish anything useful and just makes us all look like a bunch of assholes. I don't know. Strong opinions met strong opinions and things got ugly. It's the way of the world today. Either way, she has the job that she has, and no amount of petitioning or ranting from the Tesla community is going to change that. Cummings isn't the boss of the NHTSA. She's an advisor.
Right, so it makes you think, who is the one calling the narrative? Like, who's the head guy or the head group that is all combining to take down Elon Musk? Like, what do you want from the guy? What do you want from the man? Right, he's advancing society. At the end of the day, the man is a magician, aka an engineer, who's able to put together these great sci-fi, I shouldn't call it sci-fi, but all these great gadgets that are just making life better and easier for us. I can't believe she got the instructions from the up above. Let's all take down Elon. Why? The man is good. The man is smart. Therefore, we got to take him down and get some DEI hires to take his position. That was a joke, my joke. I don't know how to make jokes, but let's keep on.
I know it's easy to make her a scapegoat for the whole anti-Tesla movement because she's a woman with strong opinions and a kind of funny name. But like we've been talking about this whole video, it's more than just one person or one organization at play here. And that goes as high up as President Joe Biden himself.
And that's another thing. Since we all now know that the president is not really capable of doing much because of his old age and everything is coming out the woodworks, I got to wonder, who are the people around him who are now coming together and saying, let's take down Elon? Because this president, again, it shows our face that they put in front of a camera. Not much thinking going on.
He doesn't outwardly criticize Tesla, but he does passively bring them down by just refusing to acknowledge that they exist. Like, it's weird that Biden is very much pro electric vehicles and a huge supporter of Made in America products and American innovation, all of which Tesla would be the obvious poster child for.
And it's amazing that with all of that, not even mentioning Tesla as the greatest EV, Tesla was still able to outsell all competitors. Like, people knew the product and knew what they're driving, they knew what they got, and just said, you know what? It's a Biden problem. Let's ignore that old man. We know that this is the best car out there.
But when the White House holds a conference for American automakers to talk about transitioning to electric vehicles, Tesla is nowhere to be found. That could have something to do with Biden's stance on unionized labor. He's by far the most pro-union president that has come along in a very long time.
They shouldn't call it a union. They should call it a government agency. The Union Government Agency. So he's the number one for the government, because the government, like, what he's doing is all about growing the government and having them run the country instead of letting loose and letting the capitalist companies run it. So it's all about Elon Musk not being more involved in unions or more involved in the government. Or let's just say the government's plan to put a chokehold on the people, right? They want everybody to join the union.
During his campaign, Biden was endorsed by some very influential labor unions, and so far in his presidency, he's appointed a lot of former union leaders to high positions of power in his administration.
So that's another reason. There you go. Government involvement. Here we got an Elon Musk trying to get away from the government in terms of doing his own thing, right? And not joining the government group in terms of the unions and whatever the government wants to do. And so, therefore, making him the enemy. Let's all go up against Elon.
Elon Musk, on the other hand, has been accused and convicted of illegally sabotaging Tesla employee efforts to form a union. There are no consequences associated with that ruling, but it does make Elon's stance on the matter pretty well known. Still, you'd wonder why a difference in opinion between Biden and Musk on one issue should have such a large effect on the relationship between the government and Tesla as a whole.
At the end of the day, it caused the Democrat the presidency to go up against the richest man on earth.
Like we keep saying, it's just all very strange. And even after spending all of this time looking into the subject and researching all of these different boards and administrations and levels of government, we can't really put a finger on any one thing.
So then I'm just going to say this much after watching this video. There's two reasons, right? Number one, Elon Musk going up against the government union, allowing the union, or AKA the government, take over companies, right? Follow that with competitors wanting to take down Elon so they could be better, so they could blow up as big as Tesla is blowing up. So it's like, instead of competing by creating a better product, they're competing by using government agencies to take down Elon. Think about that for a second. Those are two big reasons: money and government chokehold.
As much as I thought we might uncover some kind of conspiracy with all this work, I just don't think it's there. Tesla represents change and a different way of doing things. Some people just don't like that, and maybe that's all there is to it. I'm sure you've all got your own conspiracy theories to go around, so let's hear them in the comment section below. Just try and keep it at least somewhat respectful. We don't want to have another Twitter incident. For more Tesla news.
All right. So, yeah, comment down below. What do you think are the reasons this is happening? But for me, after watching that report, the two reasons that stick out and make so much sense, because it affects a lot of people, it's competition. That affects a whole different industry, right? Competition taking them down so like that they could have full self-driving and not give all the awards and the crown to Elon Musk. So whenever we talk about competition, we're talking money, lots of it. And number two, the government unions that wants in on this. Because if you get everybody unionized, that means they get a check. That means the government makes money and the government is more involved. So here we got Elon Musk doing his own thing with no government and crushing the competition. But comment down below, what do you think? My name is Noel, here being verbal on life, because you got to be verbal on life. And like Nino Brown says, when bullshit talks, no, what he said, when bullshit talks, no, when money talk, bullshit runs a marathon. Shout out to all my viewers on Twitters. I'm trying to blow up this channel, be on for an hour. I'm going to come back later and do another report. All right? So let's keep this channel alive. Let's all be verbal on life. My name is Noel. See you on the next video. Peace.